Tuesday, April 18th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Commissioner Kester, would you?
Today we have Reverend Johnny Williams from Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church to give us our invocation.
Good morning.
Shall we pray? Eternal God, our Father, thank you for the privilege to come together today in honor of your name. We know that you control your world, yet we have to submit to you because you have a plan. So we pray now that you would bless these wonderful souls today that's assembled here to do business, that they might continue to fit in with each other and to do the next best thing. And we pray for others elsewhere. We pray that you would forgive us of our misbehaviors, because somewhere we fell short of doing your will. But because of your loving kindness and tender mercy, you allow us another opportunity to move forward, to do better in the time to come. This we ask in Jesus' name with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our great country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Pastor.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you.
Item number 3, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of a proclamation proclaiming April 9th through the 15th, 2023 as Public Safety Communications Week. Believe it or not, I've got that in here somewhere. This is from the Office of the Governor of the State of Texas. A calm, reassuring voice can provide a degree of peace in the most trying circumstances. To this end, dedicated men and women throughout the nation promote public safety by answering calls for help and in most literal sense possible. On a daily basis, hundreds of thousands of Americans in distress dial 911, and in their hour of need, public safety telecommunicators connect them with police officers, firefighters, and medical personnel. In such crises as arson, burglary, car collisions, or damaged public utilities, swift response can make the difference between life and death, and public safety telecommunicators therefore play a significant role in both emergency management and our society at large. This critical occupation comprises 911 operators, poison control programs, dispatchers, and other communication specialists, and they are, in many instances, the first responders. Public safety telecommunicators are indeed unsung heroes, and they leverage analytical ability and communication skill in the service of the greater good. With the utmost speed and accuracy, they gather necessary information and dispatch the appropriate aid. They are called upon in the face of trauma and tragedy, but public safety telecommunicators maintain a composed, professional demeanor. By doing so, they pave the way for the best possible outcomes. Every moment of every day, thousands of telecommunicators stand at the ready to protect and serve their fellow man, and they are a crucial element of our multifaceted public safety apparatus. Thanks to scientific and industrial progress and a collaboration between the public and private sectors, we now have a robust, sophisticated public safety infrastructure that ensures reliable access to emergency telecommunications services. To meet our people's ever-evolving needs and to enhance public safety, the Commission on State Emergency Communications supports the telecommunications, provides ongoing education, and sets industry-wide professional standards. Moreover, the Commission leads our people toward an even more secure tomorrow by building next-generation 911, an innovative, interconnected, and interoperable system of systems. Each year, a week in April is set aside to shed light on public safety telecommunicators and celebrate their many contributions and achievements. At a moment's notice, these men and women can connect our loved ones to life-saving resources, and as such, we owe them a considerable debt of gratitude. At this time, I encourage all Texans to educate themselves about the dire needs that public safety telecommunicators meet and express sincere appreciation. When it matters most, Though these committed professionals prove that the Lone Star State's greatest asset lies within the people who call it home. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim April 9th to the 15th, 2023 to be Public Safety Communications Week. As you know, we're one little week late on this, but I still thought it was worth doing today. Telecommunicators are essential in the job they do, and how they do it is beyond me. I could not do their job, to be really frank about it. And I think we owe them a debt of gratitude for certain. So, is there someone here this morning? Is Ms. Hood with us today? No. Okay. Well, anybody have any comments on this?
Yeah, I want to say that we have a great lady that runs our communications center here in front of Miss Robin Hood, and I take my hat off to her job she does.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes what we forget is that there are many people behind the scenes when we have an emergency. And a lot of times that person is someone in our dispatch. And there are a lot of things that are going on in our communities that we don't necessarily know because we feel safe. We're in a small town, right? And so these folks have to be trained in order to talk to someone in time of a crisis. If you've ever had an individual that's been involved in a crisis, it's not the easiest job in the world to calm them down, but much less get information out of them so that you can provide the help that they need. These folks do that on a daily basis. We, as a community, should be thankful for these folks for every single day and the jobs that they do. I will tell you that the heightened education that's required in Washington County as opposed to others has a lot to do with the fact that we have a boat and a helicopter here, and they have to also understand and know how to dispatch those things as well. That's something very unique to our community, and I think we should be applauding these folks for the job that they do. They've done an excellent job, and the county should be proud of our dispatch. We've come a long way. I mean, since the time that the county has been put in charge of that dispatch, we have changed a great deal of things, and I will tell you, had it not been for technology, we would not be able to do the things we do. So thank you so much for those folks, and thank you for everybody on the team that's been a part of that in public safety.
Well said, Commissioner. I don't think I can top that, but just to kind of follow up, I think it's absolutely important that these folks are recognized. These are our unsung heroes that, as the Commissioner said, are behind the scenes and are helping to make sure that everything works smoothly and that everybody gets the public safety needs that are required for incidents. So if you ever see anybody that you know is in telecommunications, or if you ever have some time, definitely go by and visit with these folks, because it really takes a strong person, both mentally, emotionally, to be able to do the job that they do every day.
Good. Anything else?
I make a motion to approve the proclamation proclaiming April 9th through the 15th, 2023 as Public Safety Telecommunicators Week.
A second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulations contracts. This morning we have 2 of those. One is the Texas Carnival Glass Convention, and the other is a wedding anniversary.
I move upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulation contracts and authorize the county judge to sign.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're going to switch the next 2 items around. Number 5 would be normal, but I think we have to do number 6 first before we do number 5. So we will go to the change in the bylaws. Mr. Stevens, would you like to describe the change in the bylaws here?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This comes about because at our last commission meeting, I was approached by a guest, a lady, Mrs. Twyla Wood, who said, I'm a genealogical expert and a cemeteries expert, and I want to volunteer to be on the historical commission.
Yeah.
She'd been to the member of the Texas Genealogical Society. She's attended the Texas Historical Commission workshops on cemetery preservation. She'll assist Dr. Slawbach on the Cemeteries Committee and Kathy Parker on another cemetery project we're working on. When I asked her where she lived, she said, well, I live in Montgomery County, and that may be a problem. And I said, well, I think we can fix that. So I propose a change in the bylaws to provide that on the recommendation of the chairman of the commission, the commissioners court may appoint members for terms of 2 years who are residents of nearby counties. If those persons have evidenced a genuine interest in Texas and Washington County history, have a special expertise in a subject useful to the commission, and have given their personal commitment to helping the commission achieve its goals in every way possible. And so that's why I'm recommending a change in our bylaws, and I'll also at the same time ask for approval to appoint Ms. Twyla Wood for membership of the commission for the term expiring December 31st of next year.
Okay, the agenda item is discuss and possibly act upon recommended change in bylaws of Washington County Historical Commission effective April 1st, 2023.
Yeah, and I would just say for those who feel as though we should not mold bylaws around things to accommodate certain individuals, I think that when we're in discussion of talking about people who are volunteering their time to do things for our commission and our county so that we have the most accurate information for the future, because as you all know, we have access to a lot of information. The unfortunate part of that is a lot of it's not true. So these guys, and I've told you a lot of times, you should get you some tennis shoes as much as you run around. Mr. Stevens, you're constantly moving, and we appreciate that as a court because you're going to leave valuable information, historical information for future generations of Washington County residents. So
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
I see no problem and I have no disregard for not changing this. So I will tell you right now, I make a motion to approve the recommended change to the bylaws of the Washington County Historical Commission effective April 1st, 2023.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Our next item is discuss and possibly act upon the approval to appoint Ms. Twyla Wood to the Washington County Historical Commission.
I'll move upon the approval to appoint Ms. Twyla Wood to the Washington County Historical Commission.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Just want to say,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Stevens,
much.
what a blessing that y'all are adding Miss Wood to the
Yeah,
commission.
it's gonna be
What an
awesome.
asset.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you, God.
Okay, item number 7, presentation of Human Resource Department quarterly report. Good morning, Ms.
Good
Butchko.
morning.
Judge and Commissioners. I'm a little nervous. It's my first time to do this. Consider this a rough draft of our quarterly report as we continue to establish a baseline. I've given you everything to look over. I wanted to hit a few high points and kind of announce to everyone. Our mission as human resources is to be ambassadors for the organization and advocates for the employees. In that our most important task is to be a trusted resource for our employees. And our current department has a unique advantage as we're all new. So when we have questions about policies and procedures and benefits, we look into it and then we try very as much as we can to share that information with everyone. We're working to provide answers and to make the information readily available so that our employees are informed and empowered. In that, one of the first tasks that I was given, I think, at the beginning of my first interview, was to review and revise the employee personnel manual. It's quite an undertaking, but we've had our TAC HR consultant review it. She's provided feedback, and we are currently reviewing, reformatting. It is our hope and our goal to have discussions during the Commissioners Court workshops throughout the second quarter, and then by the end of the second quarter, we hope to have a draft to present to you all. We're also assessing the need for a different HRIS platform. That in itself is another large task, as our current HR system works within our current ERP. So we can't just say, hey, we need a new HR system. We need to make sure that it works well with our ERP, and so alongside that, we have to collaborate with IT and other departments such as finance to make sure that we're providing the best options so the county can all work together. We have been looking into the better utilization of our current platform. We did start the year with several hours of Tyler Technologies tutoring so that we could work through the processes within that system better and more efficiently and effectively, and we have. We ask questions every time we have them, and we do our best to utilize what we have to the best of its capabilities and our capabilities. We've tried to bring light to the employee self-service login. There's a lot of information that is available there. We've uploaded documents. The employee manual is available there. Every employee has a login, and they can go and view that. There's also a benefits summary for TAC Medical, principal benefits summary, a current W-2 form for 2023, change of address form, the holiday schedule, and an EAP information sheet. We actually are very fortunate to have a robust EAP that provides a lot of necessary benefits to our employees in times of crisis and any types of need. So we want to get that out there because we don't want to see our people struggling. We want them to live their best lives. We've also put links to the tax self-service login, which provides all of this health and benefits information. Blue Cross Blue Shield, TCDRS, which is our pension plan, and then our dental and vision and additional life insurances through our EASE program. We've tried to make these announcements as best we can utilizing the direct deposit notice, and it seems to be working fairly well, but we're hoping to get a platform that extends our reach, puts it a little bit more in front of them. We've audited the employee records to ensure accuracy of status, position, and pay, and that has actually required going through each and every current active employee within the Tyler system to make sure that they are reflected accurately, and so that when they log into their ESS, they're seeing current and accurate information. We performed an annual pay rate update at the beginning of the year, which was looking to be a monumental task, but our tutoring actually helped us through that. It took a fraction of the time that we thought it would. There's a few numbers. In January, we had 229 employees, February 228, and as of March, we had 235 full-time employees. Our turnover rate is currently, for the first quarter, at 1.7%, which is really low, even by any standards. We had 4 terminations and 17 new hires, 14 full-time, 1 EMS who was a rehire, 2 newly elected officials, 2 part-time EMS. Oh wait, we had 14 full-time. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost in here. So, recruiting, we're assessing all of the different platforms available. We found Indeed to be very useful. We currently have a lot of positions where I saw the numbers. We are currently have advertising for the sheriff's office in the jail for corrections officers, 1 and 2, and then E911 is looking for telecommunications officers and IT specialists, and 1 deputy clerk for the district clerk. Other than that, we are in full swing of cybersecurity training. We sent the first notice to employees on 3/17, and we are 83% complete.
I haven't done mine. I'll just let you know.
I know.
I know it's not confession day, but it is such an enthusiastic study to go through. I love it.
It's interesting.
Looking forward to it.
We do have some training tentatively scheduled with TAC in July. We're going to have the HR consultant come out and talk with us, specifically to supervisors and department heads, those in authority positions and hiring positions, so that we can make sure that our processes are fair and equitable. So I'm looking forward to that. That's basically all I have.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any discussion here?
I just want to say this. I know that you had a pretty rough interview. There was at least one guy in there that asked a lot of tough questions, but I think you handled them very professionally. I will tell you, I've been here for quite some time. I've never seen a report from HR So I appreciate that. But I have also never received so many people telling me how much they appreciate our HR. So that's kudos to you and your staff. So I wish you would pass that on to them. I think that what is interesting to me about this document is that we've asked for others to rewrite the policy. You have taken it head on, and I appreciate that, because without sound policy, this court cannot make good decisions for our employees. So thank you so much for doing that and taking that on. I do wish we could get away from the cybersecurity training, but I do understand that it's necessary. So thank you so much for what you and your team do for our folks here in Washington County.
I second his sentiments.
Yeah, absolutely.
But keep up the great work, because I
It
will
is.
say,
Thank you.
it is great to have a quarterly report from HR. I think it gives us a lot of insight on what's going on from a holistic perspective of the organization. There are a few things in here, I'll sit down with you, that I think that we could add that would be really good indicators or metrics for the court to keep track of. But in the short time that you've been here, because it's been, what, about
6 months.
6 months?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I've seen more productivity and professionalism out of this office, and I'm very grateful to have you here representing that
I
department.
have
So
a
thank you.
fantastic staff.
Yes.
I couldn't do any of this without them. They're smart and capable and funny, and we laugh. You'll always hear laughter coming down the hall, so it's very
That is
encouraging.
good.
Yeah, you must be very talented, because you've hit the ground running, and you do it in high heels. I'll just be honest, you need to get you some tennis shoes. Unbelievable.
Oh,
You're
my.
awesome.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Item number 8, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of EMS quarterly report.
Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Commissioners.
Good morning.
Hope your vacation was good.
It was.
Um,
It was hectic this morning, but outside of that.
So thanks first off for allowing us to push our quarterly report. That's first and foremost. Amy wanted to make sure I personally thanked you for that. Anytime the Tuesday falls on the first week, it's really hard to get financials. Operationally, we can throw that together pretty quick, but financials is hard. And number two, Shauna and her staff has been working really well with Amy. I just wanted to publicly compliment her on reviewing all of our financials. Goes through both Amy and Shauna, for y'all that don't know that. You've got the report. You've had it since Thursday. If there's any glaring questions, I'll attack those first. I doubt Jim Creasy and these bankers woke up this morning to see me give a long report, so I'll be brief and let them do their business. There's 3 items that I wanted to touch on first. Facilities, just as updates, because it's been a quarter since I've been in front of you. Unfortunately, Angela, this is not my first report, but they still do make me nervous. So facilities, District 7, we've moved in officially. We're operating out of that since January. There's some shortcomings that we've got to shore up, and TJ staff is all over that. Primarily security and surveillance cameras and access control doors, which he's working on fixing that for us. That station is right on FM 50, literally, and it's a single-man occupant station. They're upstairs by themselves frequently, so knowing what's going on around that is important for us. Wesley and his team is working on the D3 or the Burton helipad location. That's a collaborative agreement between Bluebonnet, as you guys know. They've done their part. They've removed those wires, so really it's on us at this point. And Wesley's got a plan with his team to help us with the next step of that.
And right there, we need to stop and thank Bluebonnet Electric. They've been really good partners for the county.
Yep.
Those guys, Kyle and all of them that are helping us, Kyle Merton and them, Wesley Brinkmeyer, all of them have just been excellent to work with. So
Yeah, they jumped on that really quickly. So, I doubt that was on their radar when we brought it up. So
well, it's just great to live in a town where you have working relationships with folks like that.
Yes,
So
sir.
we just appreciate it.
And then the lean-to at the hangar is a project that we hope to get done by at least the end of Q2. We're working on that as well, working on a 3rd bid. Staffing, Angela hit on that. We had one rehire, an employee that left, wanted to come back. That actually puts us at 108% staffed. He's a part-time paramedic that wants full-time. We don't have a full-time spot. So for 90 days, that's the first time in probably 2 decades that I can report we've been 100% staffed.
Wow.
So that's something that we are proud of. And I don't really know the why. If you ask me why, I guess prayers to God, like, might be it. So, but it's been really good. Yep. And then the last thing is the Kubo store. If you haven't gotten on our Instagram, I sent that to some of you guys and gals. Then there's a 3-minute video that they opened up their doors to their home and let us in and videotape a normal day in their life, which is makes yours probably feel really good at times. The struggles that some people in our community go through, and the way the community paramedic model still is in operation today is pretty phenomenal. So I would encourage that. The report is pretty uneventful, honestly, for a quarterly report. The volume's down a little bit. I'm on page 1, quickly working through it. And if you see anything on the quarterly that you want changed, please let us know. We're used to doing it monthly. Monthly gives you a snapshot. The quarterly I like it a lot, so I appreciate the court moving to that. But this is our first quarterly, so if you see something that you don't like, just let us know. We still are having problems. When you look at the district mapping, it only shows 5 districts there. We have GIS, and Wesley's team has created the District 6 and 7 map. It just has not been fully implemented into CAD yet. And I'm not exactly for sure why. That's above my pay grade, but between GIS, dispatch, and probably the 911 center of getting that uploaded, there's some issues with that. But it's been ready since January. So we're just waiting on that to be put in play.
And that it's not an issue with the COG?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
That's probably a better question for the IT director.
Okay.
Yep. The next thing is the air division stuff. You'll see the percentage broken down. It looks like 52% for the quarter were IFTs, 48% were scene responses. It also tells you where all those calls went to. It looks like about 46% stayed within the region, which is Scott and White College Station. Overall, about 70% of our transport stayed within the Scott and White system, if you count Temple as well.
Wow.
Yep. In-service time, 96.44% if you take out the additional maintenance time, which is really what we're tracking. So that's well above what we're used to historically. And then the priority dispatching is probably to me, one of the highlights.
Yeah, that's what
When you look at that, because that's 772 responses in our community that we historically would have responded lights and sirens to,
Right.
that we did not respond lights and sirens to. So, which is a huge safety thing for our staff. Anytime you turn the lights and sirens on and go through an intersection, that's 772 times that we didn't do it in a quarter that we normally would have. So, Director Hood deserves a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely.
The jail breakdown, Commissioner Bullock, I know you watch that closely, and I've asked to dig into March, because if you look at March, it shows 9, which
Yeah.
is double what we normally see there for medical responses.
Yeah, I'd like some insight on that, because that's a significant
Yep.
hike.
And I don't know if they're all after the hours, because I know they're not 24/7, but I'll dig into that and provide you some
Okay.
follow-up.
Thank you.
Shoot times and response times across the board were right at our normal average. And then we've got the last few pages is financial. We left the financial, Judge, and you, if you want this differently, we left the financials broke down monthly. We felt like that was better for accepting. You have to accept those donations and those things as part of your order. So we wanted to be able to break those out monthly if someone wanted to look at those. So you see them monthly, but there's also totals on that. As far as the overall financial, ground revenue, $753,000 and some change. Air revenue, $685,000 and some change. And you'll meet Kim Stanley in a minute. Her team is really responsible for all that. Some of y'all haven't had the opportunity to meet her. We're doing a workshop after this, so I'll save the introductions for that. And then close to $15,000 of donations total when you look at all 3 months combined. If there's anything that sticks out, I'll try to answer that.
Well, Kevin, some of this stuff I can get together with you, because I'd like some comps here because I've noticed we've got a big decrease in the ground transfers. And so, obviously now that our aviation
Sure.
program is properly running and functioning, I'm assuming that that decrease is probably because previously y'all were transferring a lot of those P1s,
Yep.
via ground.
Yep.
So I just want to dig into that a little bit, and then also, if we could start compiling, because like you said, y'all have done a great job working with Director Hood on creating these priorities. And I know that, our ACP program is really strong and something that, other counties are not doing, or if they have, they're
Sure.
following your lead. But I'd just kind of like to see, if the increase in those priority 4 visits are actually, decreasing some of those other ones. Can you give some insight on those priorities?
So
Because
it
I'm
did,
assuming y'all are
yeah,
staying
during the
ahead
waiver
of-
program, we had to track that and report those numbers. The amount of decreases in emergency room visits compared to ACP home visits,
Right.
which was astronomical. It was,
That's what I thought.
it was
Huge.
literally, roughly 2 ED visits every time we signed up an ACP visit for
Right.
in-home treatments, which equates to around $7,000 per visit that we see, so.
It saves the constituency, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's really important to show
Yep.
that comparison and share to the community, because I
Yeah.
want them to know that, what y'all are doing is really out of the box. And
When
it's
if you
putting
look at
people's
that
health
chart,
first.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but the graph of the ACP, and I quickly go over that because it doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people,
Let's
but since
see.
you brought it up, it'll show you while they're in district, because Brenham's rural, but for
Right.
us, it's not, it's home. For super rural areas of our community that can't really afford to have an ambulance at it, we put those ACPs at it. They're there 24/7,
Mhm.
right? So when they're not doing an ACP visit, they're on a 911 call, and you'll see that the majority of their responses are 911 responses, which reduces that response time to about 6 minutes in an area that would have been 18 or
Right.
20-minute response time to a 911 call. So they're twofold. They're calling them before they call us, is what I like to tell
Right.
people. Why wait till 2 a.m. when they're really sick and call 911? Let's go see them during the day and see if we can keep them healthier. But then when the 911 call does occur, they're responding to those as well, which decreases our response time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, those are good points.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that we could have just stopped doing the waiver program. The
That was
ACP
an
program,
option.
we could have stopped doing it, but we chose as a court to continue that and give you that direction because we felt as though it was the best for our community. Sometimes the industry standard is not something that we should all be aligned with. Sometimes we have to take a look at our community and align and create programs that are best for our community. You've done a great job of doing that with the ACP program, and it's proof positive with the video that you talked about, with the family that's dealing with that situation. I can't imagine having to go through that daily, what they go through, and having those paramedics there helping them. There's a human element to the ACP program that we would have never got to visualize
Right.
if we had not ever created it. So that has been a phenomenal situation for us, and I just appreciate it because I know that just like that lady who did that video, it is just phenomenal what's
Well, it's
going on.
difficult to let a camera into your home
Absolutely.
when you're going through that, and I would say it's as much of a win for us and our team as it
Mhm.
is for her. They look forward to going and spending time and getting to know that family. It's been a
That's-
relation. They're our longest running ACP patient.
Yeah.
So since 2012, 2013, they've been an
Wow.
ACP patient. So it's just been a phenomenal story. So if
Well,
you
and
get the
she's-
opportunity to.
She was also concerned that if she moved,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, somewhere else in the county, that she would be dropped out of the
Right.
program, so.
Well,
Right.
and I
Quite
think it's
interesting.
special to know,
Yeah.
at least in our conservative community, in rural Texas, the importance, and she spoke to that, the fellowship
Mhm.
and the worship that your team,
Yeah.
she said, they're not just praying over us, they're praying with us
Yeah.
at times. And that really struck a chord with me. I thought it was a very beautiful thing. So to the media, I think it's very important that y'all mention that our community members, if they have not checked, Facebook or Instagram, social media, that y'all put that out there, that's a really great testimonial on there about, what our EMS team is doing, because it's certainly above and beyond, as Commissioner Hannah said, the industry standard.
Oh, gosh.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kevin.
Okay, we need a vote. Need a motion.
Oh, okay. I make a motion to approve the EMS quarterly report.
I'll second.
Motion been made, second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Item number 9, presentation of Office of Emergency Management Quarterly Report. Mr. Remke?
Morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
You should have a copy of my report. Just a few things to point out, the reimbursement for the COVID. We submitted those last projects in 2022, and they sent one of them back. One of them, they didn't really look at, the one that was more money, they didn't really look at a whole lot. They said, okay, send in your paperwork. The other one, they wanted to critique a little bit and drop some stuff out. But anyway, as of April 3rd, we received $210,612.80 for, that was the second submission of the Vaccine Hub reimbursement. That includes the $148,1250 that we paid Faith Mission. So that's partial payment for their services for that. And then the other one should be paid for probably in the next 30 to 60 days. It was $82,000. That includes the other part of the Faith Mission that we paid them last year. Still doing, so the winter storm, we submitted 5 road projects, which include a lot of different roads in those projects. So far, they've denied them all one time, and we're working on second appeals, but everything that I'm hearing, we probably won't get any money for that, unfortunately.
Can you provide some insight on that? Like, and I know those things can be kind of, you know, wonky, but I'm just kind of curious, because I know we saw quite a bit of damage
Right.
from that.
So what they're saying is that the information, we've given them all the information we have, but the information we've given them, they cannot determine that the damage came from the storm and not normal deterioration of the road. And
Yeah.
I've asked, well, how do we do that? And they're like, nobody can really tell us what that magic
Well,
wand
I'd be
is.
interested, if you don't mind, asking them, like, how are they able to determine the other counties,
Well,
you know, versus what we've.
So they haven't done a whole lot of road
No.
for
Oh,
winter storm
I see.
either.
prior to the storm, we didn't have good visual evidence
That's right.
of the condition of the roads.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so then we're coming back and saying, hey, this occurred, and you have any proof of that?
and maintenance records, they want maintenance records that really detailed, and that's something Wesley and I may have to talk about, is if there's something else we can do. But first, I
Well-
need to find out what will pass for that, right? What's gonna be
Right,
good
I think
enough?
that's a good question, just to
Sure.
kind of ask them, because,
But-
I mean, I know we saw quite a bit just
Right.
in my precinct alone,
Right.
so.
So unfortunately, looks like we probably won't get any of that. Moving on down, we still have the 2 hazard mitigation projects for the Expo generators and Station 3 generator, I think it is.
Mhm.
The Expo one's totaled to about $533,000. I've been told that we're in a good place, that we made it as far as we have. It's a pretty good sign, but until we see confirmation that we're gonna get it, you really can't
The bird
count
has
on
to
it.
land.
Yeah.
The bird has to land.
So,
Is that on both, Ryan?
that's on both.
Okay.
Until we see something that says yes, we really can't. But we're supposed to know probably in the next 30 to 60 days on that as well, but that's still an estimate of timeline, so. We did start meeting again with the local emergency planning committee. Between me and the city, EMC, we were getting that ramped back up. We really didn't have a whole lot of meetings before, but we're gonna try to meet quarterly. We had the first meeting last Thursday. It was really more of a planning meeting, and we invited public safety to that. The goal is to get private industries involved in that. People like Bluebells and the ones that have the chemicals and stuff that this is really made for. So, we're gonna be working on that. Some of the things that I'm gonna be working on coming up, we have several annexes to our emergency operations plan that are due next year, so I'll be working on those, and also the hazard mitigation plan. So if you want to get hazard mitigation money and be able to apply for those grants, you have to have a current hazard mitigation plan. So those are 5-year plans, supposed to be reviewed every year, just in case you have updates, but ours is coming due in 2024, so we have to start on it now to get it done by then, because we have to do all our work, update all our stuff, update our projects, and then you have to send it to the state, and the state looks it over, and then they critique it, and then you have to send it to FEMA. So that process takes a little while, so. Other than that, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer over the
I just wanna
report.
say, I don't envy you always having to go through,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like when you try to call an automated line and you get passed over and passed over and passed over, so thank you for your diligence.
The only other thing is that Homeland Security grants, we had 3 of them. they're all complete now as of today, so to speak, and we're just waiting for reimbursement on that. We had the barriers in the trailer, the 2 message boards, and then the EMS tactical equipment. So they're all complete now. We've got all the equipment. Now we have to just submit for reimbursement for that, so.
I thought I'd ask you, real quick, on the public safety notifications, and do you think that's going really well? Have you gotten any feedback from the community? Because I know initially when I took office, there were some issues with that, but me personally, I've seen a major improvement in that
So-
over the last year for sure.
I think the system works well. People can, that's an opt-in system.
Right.
So you have to sign up for it if you're gonna get the notifications, and then you can sign up for weather notifications as well.
Mhm.
So it's really up to the individual. We try not to use it unless it's an emergency, because I don't want him to say, oh, there's another message.
Mhm.
Not gonna read that because it's just another message.
Right.
So we try to limit that just to emergencies.
Emergency.
And then we have the iPause portion of that, that's the federal part of that, that mirrors with, or goes with that,
Mhm.
works with that. So if we need to send messages out to people that aren't signed up, we can click on the iPause option, and it sends it to everybody in that area.
Can you get us some information, like, to project, the percentage or the number of the population that has that? Because if it's a very small percentage, I think we might want to have a discussion about how to get that out there. Because I can tell you, in December, when we had that emergency situation happening over there on the loop by all those schools, I was actually about to head in that direction for a
Right.
Christmas party, and it was, I was very appreciative to, be aware that that was happening.
Yeah, so right now, I think we have about 35,000 people in that system. A lot of those are city residents because the utilities, we share that with the city.
Right.
So the utilities department uses that for their notifications.
Okay.
Like they're doing work on water mains or.
35,000, that's a good
Well,
majority.
You only got
Yeah.
36,000 people in
Yeah.
the county.
Well,
But
but that goes
that's-
to every
But that-
cell phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that's
yeah, I
not,
see.
There's way
that's
more
probably
cell
not as
phones than there
accurate
are
as
people.
you might think it is.
That
Because it's got
population.
businesses, it's not just individuals and
Teenagers
stuff,
in
so.
my county.
But I'll look into
Yeah.
that and see what I can.
Yeah,
what I
I'd like
can
to
get
talk to you about
report on
that.
that.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
I'm
All right, let's
out of the county.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
I would just say this, that all those, it doesn't hurt every once in a while to reevaluate those systems and make sure we have the most appropriate one for our
Right.
community.
Absolutely.
So we may have to, we've had that system for a while, we might need to look at it. There might be better options. That's all I'm saying.
Item number 10, discuss the possible act upon recommendation of the county engineer to award right-of-way mowing contract, WCRB 2023-09 for Precinct 1.
Judge, good morning,
Stokes.
Commissioners.
good morning.
Yes, this will be the first contract for right-of-way mowing Precinct 1. This will be our first year we actually went out for sealed bids. There was 2 bidders in this particular contract. Low bidder was Benford Ag Services out of Navasota. Their bid was $125 per mile, which accounts to a 2-cycle bid of $39,785. We have vetted this particular company, and they have done county work in the area. They do a lot of work in Brazos County. And essentially what they're intending on doing is moving straight forward from Brazos County, cycling on into Precinct 1. Everything we've seen from their side looks good. The contract as it states today would start end of May for the first cycle, and in the end of August for the second. Typically what we like to do for Precinct 1 and Precinct 2 specifically is there's a lot of bluebonnets. We're starting to kind of getting those fizzled out where the seeds are starting to drop, so we can start getting those shredded down. So just kind of keeping heads up that we're going to be another month or so before we really get all those seeds out, that we can start this service. But I do recommend Benford Ag Services.
May 1st?
Sir?
May 1st start?
It would actually be the end of May.
End of May,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So you're gonna start earlier in precinct 3 with the people that we have, correct?
Yes, sir. Precinct
Please
3
do.
and 4, we're doing in-house, and we're going to get that ramped up here
By
pretty
May,
shortly.
I'll have 300 calls. So,
And keep in mind, that's actually going to take a little bit longer as well, so that's another reason why we like to move a little bit
there you go.
quicker on those.
Thank you.
Okay,
I move upon the recommendation for the county engineer to award a right-of-way mowing contract, WCRB 2023-09 for Precinct 1.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item number 11, discuss and possibly act upon a recommendation from the county engineer to award right-of-way mowing contract WCRB 2023-10 for precinct 2.
Yes, I'm going to mimic this. This is actually the same award, 2 bidders, same price per mile. This particular contract for the 2-sided system would be $31,091.26. Once again, Benford Ag Services, we see no issues from their side. With the combined precinct 1 and 2, they are actually under budget for what we're anticipating for this year, so we're actually pleased to see that.
I'm glad you said that, because just for everybody's knowledge in the room, I wanted them to be aware that this was something that the court had previous discussions for, and it was something that we worked into the budget and compared as it related to adding staff, because we weren't meeting the current need based on that. So we had to take, evaluate whether or not it was more important to contract a certain piece of this versus hiring, which, can also be more costly when you factor in benefits. So, thank you for making that point. With that, I make a motion to act upon the recommendation from the county engineer to award a right-of-way mowing contract, WCRB 2023-10 for precinct 2.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item number 12, discuss and possibly act upon authorization of the county engineer and development services to advertise for seal coating bids.
You may have seen this one previously. We unfortunately didn't get a whole lot of, actually, I'm going
We
a little
got
too far
none.
there. We got 0 bids for the seal coating.
Yeah.
We actually did cast a little bit bigger net than we had in past years, because we were hoping we'd get a little bit more. We're actually casting a larger net. Commissioner Majewski and myself, we reached out to a great many other contractors. We're actually getting a lot of hopeful options with that. We're getting larger contractors than typically what we do for our type of work, and we're actually getting smaller contractors as well. At the end of the day, I'm hopeful that this second one, with us casting a much larger net, we're going to be able to get some work in. So it's actually a pretty substantial contract, so I do think that we're going to be able to get some interest with more fine-tuned targeting of contractors.
Well, I make a motion to authorize the county engineer and development services to advertise for seal coating bids.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. The next item, I will recuse myself in the discussion of the item number 13.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
Excuse me?
Leslie, when are the
Thank you.
bids gonna be due?
Yeah, so we'd like to have this advertised by, we'd like to advertise by
Thank you.
April 24th, and then the opening would be May 8th at 10:30 a.m. in this room, and the award is anticipated for May 9th at 9 a.m.
Did you mention opening at 10:30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it said
you'll
what
need
he
to
said.
mention that
Right.
at 10:30 to allow UPS delivery and stuff like
Correct.
that.
I amend my motion to include those dates and times.
Okay, now then.
Now say motion's been made and seconded.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 13, I will here at this time recuse myself from discussion of anything because of possible conflict of interest.
I as well will recuse myself for conflict of
Appoint
interest.
Commissioner Hannah to handle item number 13.
Commissioners, item number 13 is to discuss and possibly act upon the approval of bank depository contract and pledge contract for the Washington County pursuant to the Local Government Code, Chapter 116 and 117, to authorize the county judge to sign all necessary contracts. Mrs. Kramer, I believe this came from your office.
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to thank Commissioner Hannah and Auditor Shawna Dyer for working with us on this finance committee that we got together. We had 3 bids. They were from the 3 local banks, which I very much appreciate the interest from all 3 of you. We went through the report. We did comparisons on, first of all, to make sure that all of the bullet points that said you had to have this and this and this, you had to have the copies and all that, the check that you had to give for the deposit thing. All of those, of course, were in each report. There was never any issue with any of that. We verified different things in addition to that. We went into fees, which they were pretty much similar. And then we got into rates, and that's where the difference came about. There's looking at the different fee structures based upon, is it a Fed fund thing, is it a T-bill thing? I believe, if you've seen the email that you all got last week, that you can see that the difference still stays with Bank of Brenham. As far as rates.
So,
If you're
Commissioners-
rate driven, that's where it's still at.
So Commissioners, the contract award is based on four criteria, okay? And those four criteria are the bank's past and prospective financial condition, the net rate of return on county funds, the ability to meet service requirements, and the cost of services. Some of that stuff has been gone over by Mrs. Kramer. I will tell you that the net rate of return for county funds was one that the committee spent a great deal of time on, because Mrs. Dyer and Mrs. Kramer were crunching the numbers for that to see where we would be financially for us. That was sent to you in an email. I will tell you, it was really close. So.
Like
so
a
it-
hair.
Yeah, yeah, so, quite interesting, and I do as well appreciate having local banks bid on the county funds. It's really important that we keep this stuff local. So thank you all for doing that. I think the recommendation by Mrs. Kramer is to continue with the Bank of Brenham, and this court will need to decide if that's financially what they would like to do based upon the information provided. Are there any other questions or discussion matters that you guys have?
No, I mean, I went through this. I mean, obviously it was extremely close.
Yeah.
And so I would just say to everybody, it's never an easy decision when, you know, every member, you know, that's bidding on the same contract. So I'll just kind of leave it with that.
I need a motion.
Okay. Let's see, where are we?
Number 13.
There we are. Okay, I make a motion, so I'm just assuming your recommendation is to stay with Bank of Brenham. That's the committee's recommendation.
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion to act upon the approval of the bank depository contract and pledge contract for Washington County pursuant to Local Government Code, Chapter 116 and 117, and authorize the county judge to sign all necessary contracts for the Bank of Brenham.
I second that motion.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those,
Abstain.
all those opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Item number 14, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of accounts payable.
First of all, I want to make sure that y'all notice there's a new report that you got. I hope you like it better. It's, thank you, Shauna. I think that's one that you knew about. It, you know, goes into the ability to put the different expenses and what they are. So I know Kirk likes this.
Well, first of all,
It's the
Commissioners,
credit card.
I do
stuff,
not,
right?
I do not like voting on things I don't know where it's at, so it takes me a while to go through this and make sure that everything that's being spent, I know that I get chastised for being tight, but I do not like to cast a vote for things that I don't know where it's going.
Right. And seeing all of this doesn't help a lot, I understand that.
Well-
But I think this report is tremendous. It's a whole lot better than what we've been
It is,
Well,
seeing.
it is by
absolutely.
far
By
a
far better.
time-saving opportunity for me.
And we don't have to send you two reports.
Yes.
Anyway, I mean, the only thing, you know, is we got caught up on
Thank you,
attorney
Mr.
fees and stuff again. Otherwise, it's just normal bills.
I'll move upon the approval of accounts payable.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.